From the Alex Trebek stage at Sony Picture Studios, this is Inside Jeopardy!
Hello and welcome back to Inside Jeopardy, your exclusive and official podcast destination for all things happening in the world of Jeopardy! I'm producer Sarah Foss, and I am joined in the remote studio by our one and only Sam Man About Town Bon Vivant Buttrey.
That's right, coming to you from the Inside Jeopardy remote studio at the world's biggest teapot in Chester, West Virginia.
Have you been?
I have not, but I've seen a picture. You know, I'm starting to think maybe it's just a big building shaped like a teapot. I will have to go investigate.
I would like to find out, Sam. I want to know more about this giant teapot. Does tea ever come out of it? Why would someone build such a thing? And even if it is a building shaped like a teapot, why?
I don't even drink that much tea.
All right. Well, too bad Michael's not with us today. You know, being that he is from England, I'm sure he would have some insight into anything about tea.
But enough about that, Sarah. Let's talk about the show.
Let's do that. It is Thanksgiving week is upon us. And of course, we are thankful for another great week of shows. What we know is happening next week is the launch of Pop Culture Jeopardy! I feel like we've been talking about it for months. We, of course, taped it back in August. And now the world is finally going to get to see it. December 4th, streaming on Prime Video. And this is a tournament structure, Sam. I don't know if you know that, but it's going to be 81 teams of 3. So they will compete. And then, of course, the winner from each of those games will advance. And then the winners from those games will advance. And finally, we will have a final game for the winner, the winning team, to be determined. They're going to earn $300,000. But more importantly, they're going to get this super awesome Pop Culture Jeopardy trophy. So the way that you'll be able to watch or stream these episodes, 3 will release each week. So each Wednesday, Winning Wednesday, you're going to be able to watch 3 episodes of Pop Culture Jeopardy! We released some pictures from the set a couple weeks back. Did you see any of those, Sam? What do you think of the Pop Culture Jeopardy! Set?
I'm excited. It's upbeat. It's well lit. I mean, the new Jeopardy! Set is already great. But I will say I'm also excited about the strategy of releasing 3 episodes at a time. I'm so accustomed to watching 1 Jeopardy! Per day. And Sarah, that doesn't always satisfy my Jeopardy! Needs. But here, with 3 episodes dropping every Wednesday, I'll be able to binge Jeopardy! I was going to say until I'm tired of Jeopardy! But I don't think that'll ever happen. I'm going to just watch Jeopardy! And I'm just astounded that the contestant coordinators and the producers were able to handle 81 teams of 3 players each. But sure enough, they were.
Yes, it was a fun environment. And I think we all wondered what would the team format be like. And it really proved to be quite unique, but really fun to watch. We're introducing something special in Pop Culture Jeopardy! Called the Triple Play.
The Triple Play!
Yes.
Tell me more about that, Sarah.
Well, it allows the teams to earn up to triple the value in each of those clues when a triple play happens. So you ring in, and then it's up to your team member to give the first response. If they are correct, second team member has a chance to give the second response in the clue. And then once again, the third team member can select. Well, they don't even have to select. They're already in. They can give that third response. If any member of the team is incorrect, then it bounces back and the other 2 teams have a chance to ring in and get the remaining responses. Of course, you lose money, you lose points, you lose dollar values, whatever you want to call it. It gets taken away when you're incorrect, so it has that Jeopardy! Element. But those moments when a team would ring in and get a clean sweep of the triple play, that was pretty cool. It's almost like a true daily double, but it's got this team element and that you're working together and, you know, you're ringing in not knowing if your team members know those other responses. So it's a bit of an element of unknown surprise, but I think it proved to be pretty cool.
A bit of a gamble and a lot more money available, because if the triple play is on a $2,000 clue, that's a potential $6,000 for your team, or a potential loss and the ability for another team to capture and get their own money. So very excited about seeing how the triple play works. Now, does the triple play appear at random, the same way the daily doubles seem to?
Yes, exactly. There is 1 triple play in each of the rounds, and it comes up unexpectedly, just like in a normal clue, just like how a daily double would come up. So you don't know where it is. You have to wait, and it's an exciting moment when it is revealed. People are wondering kind of how the team element will play out. If a team finds the daily double, they get to wager as a team and they get to confer as a team on the correct response. So they do have a chance to work together as a team. They have those couple of seconds to, confer with their team and then give that response. But it is the person who selected the clue who then has to give the response. They're kind of like the team captain when it comes to a daily double.
I think it's worth noting that the show produced a Pop Culture Jeopardy 101, which I went and looked up on the internet, and you can too. I found it on the Instagram app. And that's where we're writing out the format. I say we like I had anything to do with it.
Sam,
that's
you're
where
part
Jeopardy
of the
is.
team.
I'm part of the team. That's where we make clear how the game is going to work, including the details of the triple play. So take a peek.
Yeah, take a peek. I think people will want to be, up to date on their Pop Culture 101. How does it work before it drops on December 4th? I can't wait to talk all about it. Obviously, you're going to get to see Colin Jost in action, which was such a fun experience for all of us to see him as host. And it's finally here. I can't wait for people to get to experience it.
I've got December 4th marked on my calendar.
Well, do you have January 18th marked on your calendar?
I do, because that's when we're going to be starting. Nope, I whiffed on that. Is that Champions Wildcard?
No, there's no way you would know, Sam. This is actually the due date of our writer Marcus Brown's twins. So
nice.
He and his wife, Dama, are expecting twins, a boy and a girl. And we actually celebrated with a little baby shower in the Jeopardy Library last week, or the Stephen Dorfman Library. So as you can see, they're holding up a couple of onesies, one for a girl, one for a boy. It was complete with cupcakes, handmade, 2 peas in a pod. They tasted as delicious as they looked. And it's just so exciting. We haven't had a Jeppa baby, as Michael would call it, for about 5 years. We were trying to figure out who was the last person on the staff who had a baby. It was actually our head of accounting, Robert Quach, had a little boy who just turned 5. So it's been too long. We need more Jeppa babies, and awaiting their arrival. Can't wait to meet the new little Jepper.
Great. I'm looking forward to meeting Sarah and Samuel, if those are their names.
I think their names are actually going to be Miles and Audra, but maybe middle names.
Those are nice too.
Maybe we could push for Sarah and Sam as the middle names. I think that is only
the next
fair.
pair of twins, maybe.
Exactly. Well, Sam, last week on the pod, we revealed the Champions wildcard field as well as the TOC field, at least as much as we could. And I think overall it was met with pretty positive reviews. What do you think?
Yes, I think so. There's some quibbling, perhaps, about invites here and there, but I, like a lot of other Jeopardy watchers, am very excited to see these champs go head-to-head, and maybe we can talk about that exhibition game as well.
Yeah, that's going to be good. I know people are disappointed that it is not airing, but we're certainly going to have it. As I mentioned, you can hear it on TuneIn, and we will do our best to get it on YouTube as well so that people can have another chance to see it with their eyes and not just hear it. I know when people talk about Champions Wildcard, I heard people are disappointed that we can't get every one-game winner into the tournament, and it's just not possible unless you want to take away that many regular games. And we really heard people when they said less tournaments, more regular gameplay. So that was the balancing act that we had here. We know at least one game winner is in Champions Wildcard, and we'll see how that field fills out in the coming weeks. But I'm excited for everyone to see both of these competitions or tournaments, because there's only one winner. I'm excited for people to see both of those tournaments. And the other disappointing thing, we mentioned it, only one woman so far in Champions Wildcard. And not going to lie, Sam, I wish it was a bigger field of women. When it comes to Champions Wildcard, we can't manipulate the numbers in any way. It just is a straight cut from where TOC cutoff came and the next winners by day and earnings that come next. So it is what it is, but, we can't change these things.
There's not much you can do about it. You wait for people to win games, and then you put them into the tournaments.
Yeah. Well, we have some great players coming up, and that will be fun to watch. In the meantime, what do you say we take a look at last week's winners as we go into last week's game highlights?
Well, why don't you tell me about Monday's game, Sarah?
Well, you know what, Sam? I will. On Monday's game, we kicked it off with champion Paul Clausen going up against Amy and Janelle. And after scoring on all 3 daily doubles, you know it, Paul secured a runaway win.
Yeah, big win for Paul, who had 23 correct answers. It was never really headed off, particularly with the daily doubles. He took the lead early, held it all the way through, ended out well ahead. Good game for Paul the champion.
And we do know now that he will be in Champions Wildcard because he is officially a 2-game champion at this point. We don't know. Actually, I'm taking that out because what if he wins 5 and he goes in the TOC? But we know he loses the next day. So it is accurate. I'm just spoiling it within the weeks of highlights. But you guys saw these shows we're talking about last week. One of my favorite parts in this show was the category on Wicked. And everyone is talking about Wicked. Obviously, it just came out last week. I haven't had the chance to see it yet. I don't know if you've had the chance to see it yet, Sam. But
not yet.
It's everywhere. And they reached out to us many, many, many months ago. We had worked with them on Oppenheimer, and we were excited to partner with them again on this film. I got to go to one of the media days way back in early August, and to go to the stage where they had actually brought in the actual wizard head from the set. They had shipped it overseas to have it there for the media day, and seeing that, they even brought in the special robotics guy who controlled the talking wizard head when it's not Jeff Goldblum himself. So that was impressive. And just to meet the cast, early on, they were so excited about this movie long before anyone knew anything about it. Jeff Goldblum has done a category with us before. So, clues were old hat to him, and he's just a joy to work with. John Chu, the director, big Jeopardy fan, really nice to work with him. And then, of course, Ariana and Cynthia. And what I can say that I really saw on that day, months and months ago at this point, was their partnership. They were so committed to having equal lines, to being equally represented, and they are clearly a team in this movie. And I think that's what people are, resonating with, is just how much it is this sisterhood of these wicked friends, if you will. And I can't wait to see the movie, but I thought the category was a hit. Paul said he didn't want to go, he got the Jeff Goldblum clue, but he didn't want to do a Jeff Goldblum impression. He almost did, but then he said no. And I think you can never really do Jeff Goldblum justice on your own. I don't know what you think, Sam.
Only Jeff Goldblum can do Jeff Goldblum, but I haven't seen the movie, and yet I thought the clues were fair. There was information in there for those of you that hadn't seen the movie or the musical. And it was great to see those performers give their clues, including Jeff Goldblum's clue, which gave us a quick view of that enormous wizard head that appears on the show.
Yes, that's the good thing about these categories. You don't have to have seen Wicked. Our writers are so skilled in coming up with responses and pinning the clues in a way that you can get those responses regardless of whether or not you're familiar with the subject necessarily. That's what makes those writers so good.
That is what makes Jeopardy different from other quiz shows. You don't just memorize facts, you have to deduce the answers in many cases from the little nuggets that the writers skillfully weave into their prose.
Well, what were the nuggets from Tuesday, Sam?
On Tuesday's game, Paul faced Mikey and Christopher. And this was a great game by all three players. Mikey caught fire in Double Jeopardy, 12 correct responses, entered final with a big lead. There, Christopher was the only one to get the final response correct. But Mikey's lead was just too big, and she became our new Jeopardy champion.
Which means that Paul Clausen ends as a 2-game champ. Woo! Surprise! Shocker. And we will see him in Champions Wildcard. This show also had the Billboard Music Awards category. That's coming up in December, but we were able to play a few musical clips. And who doesn't want to hear Mariah Carey get us into the holiday spirit with a little All I Want for Christmas?
You can't go wrong with Mariah Carey, and I was happy to see her, happy to hear Paul break out the harmonium clue, because apparently he actually played the harmonium, which, as you know, is a reed organ of some sort.
Of some sort, yes, that's as much as I know.
Was a very evenly matched first round, though, 10 correct responses for each of the players. But as I say, when Mikey took off in Double Jeopardy and then Christopher wagered $6,000 on a late double, which went wrong. If he'd had that one right and the $12,000 that went with it, he would have been in contention as well. But Mikey, a librarian, another librarian winner after Tuesday's game.
Yep, librarians do well. Well, Mikey was back with us on Wednesday, facing off against Elizabeth and Mayhol. Mayhol got out to an early lead, maintaining it throughout the whole game, and then in final, it was a triple stumper. So Mayhol was able to pull off a first win.
That's a pretty good strategy. Mayhol with a big enough lead in final that he was able to withstand the triple stumper. And we have yet another new champion.
And you know, Sam, if we had Barbenheimer a couple of years ago, certainly this past Friday was a similar battle at the box office. We had Wicked, and we also had Gladiators. the second film installment coming years after, of course, Russell Crowe's great film. And we had Connie Nielsen on the show in this episode giving a category about famous gladiators, which is something our players proved they knew a lot about.
I haven't always in my life been in love with celebrity categories, but I thought both of the ones this week were very well done. My issue has been when it's particularly when it's a musician.
Tell me about your issues, Sam.
In a number of celebrity categories, the celebrity is playing music, for example, and it makes it much harder for the player to figure out when the clue has ended and when their signaling devices are available. That wasn't the case with the Wicked clues, and it wasn't the case with Connie Nielsen, who delivered her clues crisply and got to the point. And I thought that was an integral part of a Jeopardy game in a way that the celebrity clues, I think, in my opinion, haven't always been.
Yeah. What's interesting to me, Sam, is a lot of people think that these are paid promotions, and they are not. If we feel like a category can be on the show and can add to the quality of the show, we will go with it, but it's not always in a promotional way. If you remember when we had Chris Pratt on earlier this year actually, and he was talking about the Garfield movie, but he wasn't talking about the Garfield movie. He was talking about James Garfield, and it was Garfield on Garfield. So here you think you're going to get 5 clues about a cartoon cat. In fact, you're going to get a historical look into the life of President Garfield.
Yeah, I've seen Redditors complain that they think Jeopardy is promoting things. That's not how Jeopardy works. Don't think that.
Nope. I mean, I'm not going to say they always are a home run. I will be the first to admit that there have been a few that I went, okay, maybe not the best choice, but I did love the ones that we had so far this week. And Ken caught up with Mayhall after the game to hear how he was feeling about the first win.
Well, you held on, Mayhall. It was a strong game. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Why did you make the small wager on the, was it literary epitaphs?
Just had a bad vibe about it. Just the general atmosphere of death around authors. I wasn't feeling it. And I went all in with that first clue. I figured I wasn't going to press my luck again.
You seem pretty calm about the whole thing. Is this how you expected this to go?
I'm not really sure what's happening. So it'll probably hit me sometime tonight.
I always hate this because I'm trying to talk to people who are like acting very normally because of evolution or something, and they are totally checked out. Like everybody's just like, okay. But I guess the downside is you're going to have to play Jeopardy again, Mayhall. Do you feel like maybe this time you'll know what you're getting into?
I guess so. I guess we'll find out.
Well, congratulations on the win.
And now a quick word from our sponsor. When you think about the success of businesses like Heinz or Mattel, it's often overlooked that it's actually the businesses behind the business making selling simple. And nobody does selling simple better than Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Heinz and Mattel use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Jeopardy, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Jeopardy to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Jeopardy. And now back to Inside Jeopardy.
Well, moving on to Thursday's game, where Mayhall, after a well-played game against Jack and Holly and a record-setting daily double wager, scored a second win and a runaway.
Yeah, this was a funny moment when he hit that second daily double because the first one came up, he had gone all in, and so when he hit this one, Ken said, okay, Mayhall, you going to do it again? 13,200 going all in? And he said, yes. And I think we were all shocked and in awe that he was really going to go that big on a daily double, but it paid off. He was correct, and now he has the record for the highest daily double of the season.
It was a big risk and one I didn't expect him to take. There was still a lot of money on the board, so I guess it made sense from that perspective. His lead was about 4,000, and I had expected him to bet that. So it was really something to see him go all in. And, of course, he hit it and finished well ahead of Jack and Holly.
Well, one thing about this game, we haven't seen it in a while. Contestants were really excited about getting those kind of funny photos with Ken. And Holly Luo, she was going for it. She said, all right, Ken, when they do their contestant photo, they kind of, as you can see, put their hands on their hips and had kind of a sassy pose. And Ken joked, I kind of forgot. Those were really in style about a year ago. So I don't know. Maybe Holly's going to set the trend and we're going to see more requests from the crazy photo. But I like it. And Ken is always up for it. I've never seen him say no to any of these requests. Not that that's a challenge for anyone, but he really is a good sport about it.
I remember Ken joining in a human pyramid on stage as a request from a contestant. So he'll do anything it takes. I did want to say that Holly had a fun story about getting floor seats to Taylor Swift, but she's not a very tall woman, so she was worried about not being able to see over the crowd, and she bought 7-inch tall platform boots, which she still has today. So I'm thinking about getting a pair for myself, just in case I get Taylor Swift tickets.
Yes, well, the tour is nearly over, Sam, but I just want to see you in the platform boots. So get those. Bring them on down to the Alex Trebek stage. I think it would be it'd be a hit.
Speaking of bringing them down, I would like to shout out Jack, who gave us a bring it on the last clue of Double Jeopardy.
Yes.
Thank you, Jack. You have the right idea. Don't let Ken tell you differently.
It hits different now that you are a part of the show. Every time someone says it, I'm like, oh, we got to tell Sam. Someone did a bring it.
I always know. I always know.
Well, Ken spoke with Mayhall after the game to find out about that big daily double wager.
I have to say, like, one of my least favorite things to watch as host is somebody get a daily double and make a properly aggressive wager, Holzhauer style, and then just bump into a unusually hard clue. And I thought maybe it was going to happen to you twice today, because you paused for a while.
The Midgard one, I knew it was Midgard or Asgard, and I had to go back and think for a little bit, what were they talking about more in Thor? It's probably the other one.
So you were thinking about Thor movies and not ancient Norse
I don't know
epics?
much about Norse mythology.
You know all the Norse mythology that's in the Thor movies.
I know enough.
By the way, I did not think you were going to go True Daily Double on the second one. I was doing a bit, Mayhall.
You know, I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan. I'm a big Josh Allen fan. I'm just drawn to doing the most reckless thing possible a lot of the time.
Well, a reckless Mayhall gave us a great moment of television on Jeopardy, so I'm here for it. And he was back on Friday trying to finish off the week as a champion, going up against Courtney and Adam. Both Mayhall and Adam scored $4,000 on daily doubles in Double Jeopardy, but Adam was able to take the lead heading into final, and he was correct to secure that win.
Yeah, big help for Adam on a late clue down on the $2,000 row. Mayhall buzzed in first but got it wrong. Adam picked up the rebound, as we say in my business, a $4,000 swing which helped keep Adam ahead, even though Mayhall, it turns out, wasn't able to get the final Jeopardy correct.
Yeah, well, good news for Mayhall. He's now a 2-game champ, and we can confirm he will be in Champions Wildcard. What we don't know is what's going to happen to Adam. We know he's a high-totaling 1-game winner. Will he end up in Champions Wildcard? Will it be TOC? What will be revealed?
We will have to wait until the show's air, Sarah. We'll just have to wait.
Oh, I will be patient. But what I won't be patient for is another segment of But Wait, There's More. What do you have for us this week, Sam?
It's funny you should ask. This week's clue comes from Thursday's game, the $800 clue in that Norse myth category that apparently Mayhall wasn't very happy with. Let's bring it.
Let's do Norse Myth 800.
Not just a hamlet in New York, it's the site of slain warriors, where the same unfortunate boar is eaten and resurrected daily. Holly.
What is Valhalla?
Correct.
I wasn't familiar with the hamlet of Valhalla, maybe 30 miles north of Manhattan near White Plains. But I think everyone knows about the Valhalla it's named after, which is an enormous banquet hall in Asgard, the mythological home of the Old Norse gods. According to one story, Valhalla has 540 doors, each wide enough for 800 warriors abreast. Now, they don't tell us why there were so many doors. Fire safety? Maybe Odin's brother-in-law was in the door business? I don't know. But the warriors of Valhalla were special. Valhalla means Hall of the Slain, and all the warriors were ones who had died courageously in battle and were brought there by the Valkyries. And Valhalla wasn't the only way to go. Some warriors who died in battle apparently went to a whole different Hall of the Slain, presumably one with fewer doors.
What about this boar that they're eating, Sam?
Yes, the warriors of Valhalla get to hang out with Odin, and they have 2 jobs. Every day they train for battle, after which those that died in the training are resurrected. And every day they go to a huge feast. They dine on the boar Saehrimnir, who is killed and eaten every day, but who magically appears again after the meal. Interestingly, Odin, who is very wise, doesn't touch the meat at all, so maybe he knows something. Meanwhile, while the warriors are training for Ragnarok, the battle at the end of the old world, they wash down the magic boar meat with an essentially infinite supply of honey wine, or mead. And where do you think the warriors' mead comes from, Sarah?
The magical boar?
Seriously? That's your guess? No, that would be ridiculous. The much saner explanation, of course, is that it was milked from the udders of a magic goat named Hydron.
Ah, of course. Magic goat. What was I thinking,
Magic goat.
Sam?
Now, I don't know about you, Sarah, but the one thing I hate about honey wine is when it just doesn't have enough of that rich goat flavoring.
Wow. Well, all that talk has made me hungry or thirsty.
Hungry
or,
for goat mead.
Yeah, something like that. Or maybe just for our host chat, which we're going to transition into. But thank you for that, Sam. I did learn a lot. I think I'm more confused. Even though I learned a lot, I'm still a bit confused about it all.
We'll
But not
keep talking
because of
about
you.
the magic boar and the magic goat.
Okay, sounds good. Well, in this week's host chat, someone asked Ken if he had any Slumdog Millionaire moment during his run.
Oh, wow. You don't want to have one of those in the middle of the game, because then they come back and you just missed 6 clues because you were having your your flashback about your childhood or whatever. I remember in my very first game, I had studied all these presidential flashcards, just kind of knowing, listen, what are the odds that I do have to know John Quincy Adams' dates or whatever. And then in the very first game, it was something about whoever was elected in 1876. And I was like, oh, I know this. 76, trombones playing Purple Haze, Rutherford B. Hayes. And it actually came up in my first game. And I was like, all that time was not wasted. That's like a $1,600 clue.
I don't think Ken answered that properly. To me, a slumdog moment is when it's some incident in your life that doesn't come from studying trivia. If you remember the
Right?
movie, well, anyway, I'll take it up with Ken.
I think you should, because I was thinking the same thing, Sam. But nevertheless, it brings us to the end of this week of Inside Jeopardy. By the time we meet again, Thanksgiving will have come and gone. So happy Thanksgiving to you, Sam. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners and viewers.
Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. Another great podcast completed. Good to see you.
And we will be back next week with highlights from the syndicated show and all that you want to know about the debut of Pop Culture Jeopardy. See you next week.
We're so glad you're here. Stick around and click that subscribe button so you see all our latest videos.